Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
Scouse. Hey guys, my name is Connor. The original link to this video, top of the description. Below that, link to the Discord. Love to have you. Gotta get started. I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't have coffee though. It's okay though.
Say this city's name almost anywhere in the world,
Liverpool.
and people will recognize it. Whether that's for its football.
Fabinho's got some space. He's got three up there with him, and he squeezes it through the legs.
Its rich history, or the music that was born here.
Take George to
Because
football.
as British cities go, few are more iconic than Liverpool.
The friendliness of people here has really taken me aback.
From the welcoming nature of the people here to their unique accents, Liverpool feels different. Some Scousers, as people from Liverpool are called, think of it a bit like a city-state, separate from the rest of the country. And many don't identify with England at all, displaying banners like Scouse Not English.
That's like the same sentiment that people in a Cornwall video I watched had. They see themselves as Cornish before. I kind of see myself as from New England before American, so... I mean, not to that extent, I guess.
Liverpool fans have even been known to boo the British national anthem at football games. So what's this divide all about, and why has Liverpool ended up so different from the rest of the country?
Find out.
We're here to find out.
We made it to England!
We made it!
Guys, the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. That's this Cheshire? And why? Why? What?
Yeah, that's what got us here.
We'd made it through the south of the UK
Frickin'
and had cycled around almost the entire coast of Wales. We were
I just need to put on this light right here. Okay.
and had cycled
And by the way, this always looks like someone, like a woman firing a gun.
around almost
Doesn't
the
it?
entire coast of Wales. We were
Maybe.
finally heading back into England to the banks of the Mersey River.
That's beautiful.
and the city that sits on it, Liverpool. This is Britain's seventh
Distracted
largest city that 900,000 people call home. It boasts one of the most widely supported football clubs on the planet and was the European Capital of Culture in 2008, alongside Stavanger in Norway. It's also the home of the Beatles, one of the most famous rock bands of all time.
One of.
But the chances are you know all
Probably
this,
the-
because these are the classic tourist tropes. They're what Liverpool is marketed on. What do local...
No, okay, I'm super boring. Okay, I realize that, like, as I get older, I listen to music less, which is kind of probably sounds depressing to many of you, but I just thought about it because, like, even when I'm in the car, I kind of listen to YouTube videos or stuff like that. I like sightseeing for sure, nature, and then like some educational content and like some museums or castles, and I will be very happy. That's all I need.
think makes Liverpool Liverpool.
When our backs are against the wall, everybody is there to help you. It doesn't matter which part of the city you come from, what colour you are, what race you are, it makes no difference. Everybody sticks together and takes care of each other.
I think Liverpool's got one of the best personalities. For me, it's how musically alive the city is. It's all just based on music, and their musical history it's got, I think, is like, incomparable.
I think
it's unique in its people. The people themselves make Liverpool. It's not about Liverpool, it's about the people of Liverpool. And I believe that's what makes us stand out. I think we're unique, I think we're friendly.
I'd say like the football as well, that's a massive part of it. The football,
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's either Everton or Liverpool, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to any part of Liverpool and you'll always be welcome. If you're in any type of need, they'd always help you.
Of all the cities in England, Liverpool in particular is known for doing things its own way. There's even a unique name for people from Liverpool, Scousers or Scouse. Why? Well, the story begins with whalers, who came to Liverpool in the 17 and 1800s.
So the only people who could do whaling around Europe
I would love to use that as a background.
were the Norwegians. So we sent for a crew of Norwegian sailors to come over and go to the Arctic. Obviously there was Liverpool crew as well, and they joined the ships as well. And these lads, to keep warm, they had their own like meal, and they used to have a fire, and they used to put meat. They used to put potatoes, they used to put carrots, and it was called lobscouse. So the Liverpool lads, when everything dies down and they joined other ships, and they started to make this lobscouse, just like the Norwegians did. So when people from around the world met sailors, they said, "Where are you from?" And they said, "Liverpool." They go, "Ah, Scouse."
Back then, Liverpool was a booming trading port.
Interesting.
So important that it was sometimes referred to as the New York of Europe.
When you look back, Liverpool, it was incredible. It was an incredible port with lots of activity. Liverpool was known as the second city of the empire, obviously behind the capital, London. Because of the trade, there was immense trade, and it was incredible.
The bustling dock.
I could listen to that guy talk about anything. The amazing accent voice.
The bustling docks produced the unique Scouse accent you'll hear if you visit today. It's unlike any other in the UK, and was a result of the melting pot that this city became.
If that guy had a typical Scouse accent, it sounds much more like close to Scottish accent to me. I'm no expert, all right, than your classical English.
From all over the world with different ways of speaking mixed together.
I gotta stop. It's last pause. Probably not, but maybe.
From all over the world with different ways of speaking mixed together. And it's most influenced by Irish, Welsh, and Norwegian immigrants. Nowadays, though, Liverpool has an unfair but pretty bad reputation, and people often joke about it being a lawless and dirty city.
Watch your bags. Don't go to Liverpool and steal your hubcaps or your wheels or whatever.
I don't want to be offensive. Or I thought Birmingham or had that reputation. Never mind. Sorry.
Go to Liverpool.
Obviously, we have plenty cities similar, if not worse.
Whatever. And this is the way Liverpool are portrayed. Unfortunately, Scousers. Why are you going to Liverpool? You end up being beaten up and you're being burgled and being... They always get looked down upon. Always get looked down upon by the press, the English press, unfortunately. For some reason, we don't know. You know, we're looked at down the noses, you know, especially accents.
So I imagine some of you know what you're looking at here. Beautiful. Looks like a beautiful city from each of the photos I've seen so far. I know that I can't judge it based on a few photos. Nice soccer field. Pitch. Sorry, football pitch. It's very nice, very pretty. Nice little park in the middle. Nice houses. Guys, so many of your neighborhoods, the houses look like they all look like they belong in the same neighborhood. Last pause.
Frank often has to battle
And
people's
freaking
especially accents.
Frank often has to battle people's preconceptions about him that are based purely on the way he speaks and where he's from.
When I tell them I'm a lecturer, they don't believe me, simply because of my accent. It's gone now that it's water off a duck's back to me. It's the way it is. It's just the way people perceive Liverpool. Liverpool's got a terrible image, even today.
I love your accent, dude.
In reality, the problems that any major city faces, crime, litter, and so on, are no worse here than anywhere else. So how did Liverpool go from being the second city of the British Empire to one that has so often been looked down upon by other parts of Britain, where so many of its residents feel Scouse rather than English? Well, Liverpool has always been a bit independent. Part of that can be put down to immigration, particularly from Ireland following the Irish famines in the 17 and 1800s, which really changed the demographics here. At one point,
I think that's when some of my parents, I think when some of them came over.
in the 1950s, a quarter of Liverpool's population was Irish-born. It also has such a large Welsh population that it's sometimes jokingly called the capital of North Wales. All these people from different places, some with less than stellar opinions of the rest of England because of tension between the English and Irish and Welsh, gave the city a distinct sense of self. But it was the 19th...
Guys, Lancaster County, that's where my mom's dad's family comes from. Like my mom's dad's Lancaster.
That really drove a wedge south. But it was the
think.
1900s that really drove a wedge between Liverpool and the rest of England. And it began with a general strike.
So in 1911, there was a general strike here. They wanted decent wages. They wanted some sort of parity with other cities. They wanted to live a life rather than struggle. And that was a massive struggle that they had, and a massive struggle against the government, because the government at the time sent up 50,000 armed troops. They sent for 6,000 police from Birmingham and Leeds to take control, because the police here in Liverpool said, we can't fight against our own people. There were 2 dockers shot dead by troops. Everything had stopped. Everything from the dock workers, they stopped. Everything, railway, everything was stopped. And Churchill, he actually sent up 2 frigates to train its guns on the city, just in case. Because they said, we can't afford anarchy to spread out into the country. So we were on our own there, and unfortunately, it was squashed. Did the workers get anything? No. They never achieved much, unfortunately, during that particular strike. So it was over by September. The strike was over.
Let's jump forward a little closer to the present. Almost 40 years since the end of World War II and the independence of India, and the British Empire was long gone. Add to that changes in shipping practices, like containerization, and Liverpool's docks were becoming less and less important compared to other ports like Dover. Less trade meant fewer jobs, and unemployment and poverty skyrocketed to some of the highest rates in the UK. The city was suffering. Enter Margaret Thatcher.
Guys, I would have thought that, I asked this in another video of Reagan and Thatcher, you'd think that Cornwall would be like a big port place, like to, maybe like there aren't any good harbors there, and like the water is too rough or like the infrastructure to take any goods from a theoretical port in Cornwall to the rest of the country. But like the fact that it's kind of just sticks out. I think I answered my own question.
Prime Minister of Britain through the 80s, from 1979 to 1990. And this is where it gets dark.
11
Because
years.
rather than invest in Liverpool to get it back on its feet, her government planned a strategy of managed decline.
What the Conservative government wanted to do.
Guys, I'm so sorry. Just my last pause. One second. Sorry, is there a term limits? What is the maximum amount of time that a prime minister can consecutively serve as PM? Anyone know? 11 years seems like a lot.
Decline.
What the Conservative government wanted to do, he wanted to manage decline a city, and Liverpool was chosen. Don't invest in it, don't do anything. It's like getting a balloon, blowing it up and just letting it out slowly. And you just see it slowly degenerate into nothing. The Conservative MP, she said, I'd like to build a wall around Liverpool to show future generations how we lived or how they lived. And that was shocking.
Jesus.
That was shocking to manage decline a city as strong as Liverpool.
Some in the government saw the 1981 Toxteth riots in Liverpool, which were sparked by racism in the Merseyside police force, as an opportunity to start this managed decline, or strategic abandonment.
More than 100 white and coloured youths fought a pitched battle against the police. At daylight, the police began a series of charges to break up the gangs massed in front of them.
All this unrest and the government's response pushed Liverpool even further from the rest of England. But for a lot of people, it was 1989 that was the last straw. The year of the deadliest sporting event in British history. The Hillsborough disaster. At the semi-final of the FA Cup between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest in Sheffield, Yorkshire, police mismanagement of a crowd of Liverpool fans caused a crush. It took the lives of 97 people and injured another 766. It was the police force's fault, but they covered up their failings, feeding false stories to the press.
14.
It's fault. But they covered up their failings, feeding false stories to the press, blaming hooliganism and drunkenness of the fans themselves for the disaster.
And then there was the Hillsborough disaster, which happened on the 15th of April, 1989. And I was actually there. I'm a survivor of Hillsborough. Now it's, very recently another victim had died, and it used to be 96, now it's 97, because the coroner came out and said that this lad who had recently died has became the 97th unlawful victim. Unlawful. So it was still, people are still fighting for justice, unfortunately, and it seemed that everybody turned their backs on Liverpool. Everybody. I'm talking about the whole of the country. And you had the Sun newspaper who came out with the truth out. It was shocking what they were actually saying about Liverpool fans, and they caused it, and they were drunken yobs, and they were urinating on, the police who were trying to help, and they were also pickpocketing the dead, which was scandalous to say the least. It was scandalous to say these things. And it's shocking to think how people turned their backs, especially against the 97. And there still isn't justice, albeit that they were unlawfully killed. And, people still believe that it was the Liverpool fans, but they've been found not guilty of it. They've been exonerated from what the Sun called the truth. and yet they never really apologised. They should have had a front page, and the Sun newspaper is actually banned here. So now you have a big Liverpool banner saying Scouse Not English, only because of the press and the bad name Liverpool gets.
The lies about Hillsborough were built on negative stereotypes about Scouse people and Liverpool. And it worked. The police spent 30 years blaming the victims, and a lot of people believed what they were saying. When the police force eventually had to pay out compensation for their lies to bereaved families, lawyers called it one of the largest and most shameful cover-ups by a police force in history. Of all these events, the Hillsborough disaster and the injustice that followed are the most fresh in Liverpool's collective memory. It was only in 2016 that an investigation officially disaster and the injustice that followed are the most fresh in Liverpool's collective memory.
What is that guy? What is that cop doing?
Justice that followed are the most fresh in Liverpool's collective memory.
What does he like? Get back in there? Or so? I don't want to judge from one thing.
It was only in 2016 that an investigation officially placed the blame on the emergency services. So now, over 100 years since Winston Churchill sent gunships up the Mersey River, this city is set apart from the rest of England. And this is what happens when people who feel Scouse Not English hear the British national anthem.
I never realized, because I thought it was mostly just, you know, soccer fans. Well, guys, do I have to keep saying football fans? I call it soccer over here. I don't mean So, because of all the soccer teams, like the super, what's it called? Fervor? Jesus, my brain is not working right now. The extreme support. I'm looking for a synonym of that, of each team, and you can see, oh, clearly they're super proud of their football teams and stuff. But the more I watch videos on certain parts of England, or just England, UK as a whole, there's so much regional identity that so much surpasses kind of regional identity, at least over here, where it's like there is some animosity in the, like, no, don't call me English for, you know, I'm Cornish, or I'm Scouse, or, you know, whatnot. So something I certainly have noticed.
Liverpool has been treated this way over the last century. Maybe the London press didn't like the city's rebellious nature. Or perhaps classism is to blame, since it's always been a very working class city and an epicenter for the fight for workers' rights. Whatever the reason, Liverpool has been through a lot. And yes, it has the same problems as any major city. But it's about time it was recognised for what it is, not what the media makes it out to be. One of the country's most musical and artistic cities, home to some of the friendliest people in England. The city that gave us the first ever passenger railway, the very first X-ray department, and one of the first ever wireless radio broadcasts. A hub of culture, home to the country's oldest Chinatown, built by people from all over the world, that saw the highest of highs in its heyday and is bouncing back from the lowest of lows it endured in the 20th century.
It's incredible what Liverpool have achieved and what's gone out, but unfortunately we get no credit. And this is what people, they really need to be educated about Liverpool instead of having this negative look at Liverpool. And that's that's the way I am. And I've always shouted Liverpool from the tops of the roofs. I've been asked.
By the way, it looks like a beautiful city from kind of every direction. I mean, you can see a bit of like porch stuff over there. It's not that pleasant looking or whatever, but every big city has that. When it comes to like learning about a city for the first time, it's been a great video, but it is definitely a bit polarizing. And when I'm shown a sort of polarizing video for the first time, I'm learning about something, I get almost a little uncomfortable because I don't want to form a giant opinion of like, yes, they're right, you know, they're right. And so I do get a bit uneasy when learning about something for the first time, because I don't want to make a real impression of a city that I've never been to based on a single video I've watched. But it has been very interesting.
What does it mean to me to be a sculptor? Well, Scousers are very, very proud people. When I go away and people ask, where are you from? I say Liverpool. They go, oh, you're a Scouser? Yes, of course I'm a Scouser. I don't put on accents. It's the way I speak, because people have said, do you put this accent on? I'm very, very proud to be a Scouser. I'll just leave it at that.
Very cool video. I hope you get what I mean at the end there, that I never had the impression that Liverpool was this sort of, you know, other. I never had the impression that Liverpool is considered these days as a kind of like people refer to as crime or something like that. And like that's the stuff where I'm like, get out of my head, because it's the first time I'm really learning about it. And the first stuff you learn about something is usually what sticks with you. And then that seriously influences how you learn about the city going forward. So part of this video, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Like I want to learn about Liverpool as a whole in a less, obviously some of the stuff is horrific and very fascinating. And I want to learn more about the specific troubles of Liverpool, but I also want to learn about Liverpool without the troubles, just like how it is as a city, you know, and its history as a city, not as just I don't know. I hope you get sort of what I mean. You guys do have I'm always kind of surprised, but I always think I sort of, you know, stutter sometimes and misspeak and can't put sentences together, but sometimes you guys some way find out what I'm trying to say, and I really appreciate that. I hope you're all doing well. Would appreciate any comments, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye guys. Let me know if you agree, disagree, by the way. All the comments, really want to see them. Bye, guys.